Hello everyone, how y'all doing? It's your boy here today. Kind of chilling at a restaurant right now. And there's this topic that's been on my mind for a while. And I just kind of want to talk about it. This is not going to be one of my popular videos, I can tell you right now. Because this is a sensitive kind of topic and it's about mental illness. And there are two salient points I'm really trying to get across in this discussion today. First of all, let me kind of give you a little bit of statistics on mental illness here in the United States. The National Alliance on Mental Illness has some statistics I will share with us. It says 1 in every 5 adults in U.S., about 43.8 million or 8.5% of people experience mental illness every year. 193.2 billion has been lost in earnings because of mental illness in a year, in a period of a year. 1 in every 25 adults, which is about 9.8 million people, or 4% of the population, suffers serious mental illness that kind of affects them and hinders them from living or doing their regular daily activities. So we're seeing here a major issue with mental illness. And the funny thing is, I look at countries that are called third world countries. Their struggles are not with mental illness. Their struggles are with poverty and more physical things. But the struggles many times in developed countries has to do with mental illness. And there's such a large spectrum of diagnoses. There's something called the DSM-5, and people who are into psychology and that area, which kind of I'm really familiar with because I've done some studies in this area. I'm aware of the DSM-5 that diagnoses, gives you characteristics and things that make people qualify for particular kind of disorders. There's a spectrum of mental illnesses, things to do with personality disorders, so many kinds of them. Narcissistic disorders and antisocial disorders. There are about 13 different kinds of personality disorders. When you start talking about bipolar, you talk about people who are mania 1, mania 2. You talk about people who are depressed, depression. There are ranges and a variety of levels, severe, mild, and all that about depression. So there's so much in this area of mental illness. But there are one or two things I really want to kind of talk about that I say are my salient points today. Now, in a lot of these cases of mental illness, medication helps. But I kind of have a little bit of a concern that some of the cases, schizophrenia, mood swings, mania, some of people who suffer from some of these things really have spiritual problems. And I'm going to read, I don't normally read so often from the scriptures, but I'm going to read something from the scriptures, just one experience of somebody here that maybe might just kind of open up some of my viewers, my audience, some of your minds to just kind of, I would say, do a little bit of more study or kind of research into what I'm talking about. There's mental illness, yes, but also sometimes, I think sometimes people, there are spiritual problems that lead to some of these issues. There's a guy here I'm going to read about in Mark chapter 5. Anybody who knows about scriptures knows Mark chapter 5. And he was called the man of Gadarius. And basically, this guy lived in tombs. And this guy was out of his mind. He was meant to be psychosis, mad. And basically, his story here, I'm going to read from one of the easier versions to understand. And I just want to kind of give people something to think about. Let this be a conversation, really. Is all cases of mania, all cases of depression, all cases of bipolar disorders, are they all just solvable by medication. In fact, people who take medication take it for a lifetime sometimes and really don't really get better a whole lot. Personality disorders, for example, the whole range of personality disorders, from my studies, people never really recover from them. So it's a lifetime of issues that people deal with. I'm saying here that is it possible that some of these cases could be spiritual and need spiritual solutions? Now, in this experience here with this guy in Mark chapter 5, I'm going to read from verse 1 here. It says, "So they arrived at the other side of the lake, in the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus climbed out of the boat, a man possessed by an evil spirit came out from a cemetery to meet him." This man was, he lived in the cemetery. "This man lived among the burial caves and could no longer be restrained, even with a chain." Wow, he was wild. "Whenever he was put into chains and shackles, as he often was, he snapped the chains from his wrist and smashed the shackles." Now, obviously, this is not human strength, okay? This is beyond human strength, breaking and destroying shackles and stuff like that. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Day and night, he wandered among the burial caves and in the hills, howling and cutting himself with sharp stones. When Jesus was still some distance away, the man saw him, ran to meet him, and bowed low before him. With a shriek, he screamed, "Why are you interfering with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In the name of God, I beg you, don't torture me." This was the guy talking. For Jesus had already said to him, to the spirit, "Come out of the man, you evil spirit." So basically we're seeing here that this guy was dealing with something spiritual. It's talking about a spirit. Then he goes on and says, "Then Jesus demanded, 'What is your name?' He replied, 'My name is Legion.'" The guy said, "My name is Legion." The guy, that's what he said, because there are many of us inside this man. Many of what? Many of evil spirits. Where did I stop? Then it goes on. "Then the evil spirits begged him again and again not to send them to some distant place. There happened to be a large herd of pigs feeding on the hillside nearby. 'Send us into those pigs,' the spirits begged." It wasn't the guy begging, it was the spirits inside the guy that were begging. "Let us enter them." So Jesus gave them permission. The evil spirits came out of the man and entered the pigs, and the entire herd of about 2,000 pigs plunged down the steep hillside into the lake and drowned in water. The herdsmen fled to the nearby town and the surrounding countryside, spreading the news as they ran. People rushed out to see what had happened, because folks knew this guy was crazy and lived in tombs. They knew him. Then those who had seen what happened told the others about the demon-possessed man and the pigs. And the crowd began pleading with Jesus to go away and leave them alone, because they were afraid. They hadn't seen anything like this before. But Jesus said, "No, go home to your family and tell them everything the Lord has done for you and how merciful he has been." So the guy got healed. That's what this is about. Those spirits were really what made him mad. The 20th verse there, it says, "So the man started off to visit the 10 towns of that region and began to proclaim the great things Jesus had done for him. And everyone was amazed at what he told them, because his problem, his mental illness, had been solved." I read this portion because I'm trying to say that there are times when I think some of the cases of schizophrenia, some of the cases of mental illnesses are really spiritually based. And it's a conversation I want people to have. I want people to think about what I'm saying and, do your homework. But I just don't want people to have to suffer when they don't really have to. That's the purpose for the video. That not all cases, it might not be you, it might be a family member, a friend, an associate, somebody, or one of your people in your community, people who are suffering from some of these ailments or these illnesses. I'm trying to say that there's hope and that there are things that people could do. Sometimes spiritual problems are responsible and people can get solutions for them. And this was an example here. This guy who was crazy, mad, breaking chains, destroying things. People ran away from him. He couldn't even live among people. Was made free. Whatever those issues were that made him crazy, they were spirit, and Jesus, got them out of him. So, really, my point in the video is conversation. Are all these issues and all these cases we're talking about, are they really just mental illnesses, or are they cases that involve spiritual problems? That would be something my audience, I would like you to investigate and find out. You all have a good day. It's your boy.